it's getting harder and more expensive to build a car literally every day. This was the last video that we did, where we talked about the fiasco we had trying to score just a simple freeze plug, something that any auto parts store should have had in abundance, couldn't find one. And then we had our gasket fiasco, where they packaged brand new Felpro box, wrong gaskets in the box. All these little things are annoyances that take you off track. But then there's something that you come across that's just like a hard stop for a lot of people, and it's the price of things. Inflation or price gouging, which is it? Now, okay, we all understand that inflation is off the rails. And I don't want to get into the reasons why inflation is off the rails, because then I'll get a bunch of people saying, stick to things you know about, stick to cars. I actually happen to know a lot about economics. But we're not going to talk about the bigger inflation picture and where I think all of this is going, where I know all of this is going. Let's talk about practical examples as they exist right now, and something that I just came across. So this is, you're going to love this, okay? Inflation or price gouging. You be the judge. You tell me what's going on. So, buttoned up this transmission. I'm getting ready to send it in the car. I'm just waiting for a couple of pieces before I can actually install it. So, I says, well, I got to get a shifter together for this thing. So, in my hoard, I have a TCI, I bought it last year, a TCI fast gate shifter. It's an economy shifter. I bought it last year, April, I want to say, April or May, paid $155 for it through Summit or Jags, whichever one it was. Now that same shifter is $195. All right, so it's a $40 increase on the price of the shifter. Let's not even talk about that. I have this shifter. I have a cable, right? So, okay, my hoard, I got a nice cable. Okay, we'll use this, no problem. Now I need the bracket. I need the bracket that mounts the shifter to the transmission, to the cable to the transmission. I have a shift lever, a shift arm that goes to that setup, again, from the hoard. But now I need the bracket. I need the bracket that bolts from here and holds the cable. I need this bracket. So now this bracket, I borrowed this off of another car for illustrative purposes. This is the exact bracket that I need. This is a universal bracket. This is one, I'm going to explain this in a second. This is one that fits every torque flight 727 and 904. That's why it has this slotted opening here, because the spacing on the pan bolts is different. And this bolts right here, just like this. Okay, so I need this bracket. Now when you buy one of these shifters, it comes with a package. The shifter is universal. The shifter comes with a plastic bag, and in the plastic bag are all of the hardware pieces you would need to adapt that shifter to a Ford transmission, a General Motors transmission, a Chrysler transmission. It's a bag with, let's say, I don't know, like maybe 10 different pieces in it. It has different brackets and different lever arms. And you pick the ones that fit your application and you throw the rest away. Right? Like I said, this is a universal kit. These are the pieces that come in a universal kit. And they could not possibly be more basic. All right. So I hunt around the shop. I can't find one of these. So I says, all right, I'll just order one. They have installation kits. I'll just go online and I'll order one. How much you figure this thing cost? So, like I says, this exact piece comes in a package. And let's say I had bought, I was putting a Camaro together with this shifter. I would have taken the parts applicable to my transmission out of this bag, put them on the car, and then thrown all of these away. So this is literally intended to be a throwaway if it's not used. How much is this online? Okay? How much is this throwaway piece of metal from the manufacturer? It also comes with this, which again is part of that throwaway package. $10? $15? Right? Okay, $20 because it's got to be packaged, it's got to be handled. Great, you know what? Fine, no problem. I'll pay $20 for this, right? Just for expediency's sake, I'll pay $20 for this. $65.95, $66 plus shipping, plus tax, plus shipping. for this piece that literally is packaged in the shifter as a throwaway. 66 bucks. That's on a shifter that cost me $155, now it costs $195. So forget about the whole shifter, the rest of the shifter, the whole assembly, all the other pieces that come in there, including the cable and whatnot for $195. They want $66 for this. Yeah, just no, I'm not paying $66 for this. So what did I do? I did what any self-respecting car freak would do, or I made one. So here's where it mounts up, okay? And I looked at that and I said, all right, well, let's see, what's near here? So I came down here and I said, oh, look, there's a boss on the transmission right here. There's a boss right there. Let's see, what would I need to make this work? Oh, okay, so I went over to my pile of scrap leave-ins because, you know, every shop has got to have a pile of scrap leave-ins laying around, right? And I found this piece of L material, right? This was actually a little bit longer like this. And I trimmed it down and I put it up here, okay? So here's their bracket. And this is where it brings it. And here's my bracket. And look, my bracket puts the hole exactly where it needs to be. So here's what I came up with. Here's what they offer to do the same job. Okay, which one looks a little bit more efficient? And yeah, they'd probably try to get 60 bucks for this too. It's a nice simple setup. So this bolts to this boss, which I checked and is on all torque flights. So this will go like this. And then I have these washers. So what I'll do is, once I put the cable in there, I'll figure out exactly how it lines up best with the shifter arm there, and I'll weld this washer to it so that it's like a precise alignment. But yeah, simple stuff like that. If you think it's getting harder and more expensive to build a car these days, you're not wrong. This is a problem. That's an issue. Who on earth? Look, I've bought very expensive hardware in the past. Like what you say, how can you possibly spend that much money for this thing? But you understand it because it's made out of a special material or a special process. You know what I'm saying? It's titanium or it's carbon fiber or it's handmade, right? It's not a stamped piece of plain steel, you know, and that's all this is. It's just a simple stamping. There's probably one factory someplace in the Hunan province, and they stamped out 25,000 of these things, and each of these manufacturers that offer these shifters buys a bunch of them and sticks them in their and they're throwaways. They're throwaways. So, inflation or price gouging? You tell me what it is, and you tell me how the average guy working the average job, just trying to get by, just trying to pay the bills, just trying to keep groceries on the table and put gas in a car, how they can afford to throw $66 plus tax and shipping away on a simple, basic piece of metal like that. It's sickening. If you're going to survive in this thing, you have to learn how to think out of the box. You got to learn to improvise. You have to learn to fabricate. You know, think on your own 2 feet. That's the only way. That's where it came from. That's when hot rodding got started back in the 1930s. I think or the 20s. Do you think there was speed shops? There was no catalogs. There was nothing. It was like you wanted to go fast, you had to make your own parts. You had to take the stock parts or whatever you had laying around and fabricate and twist and bend and fold and drill holes and make them lighter and everything. That's where hot rodding came from, and that's where hot rodding is going back to. I'll see you tomorrow.